Hi, my name is Jeff H. Sipe, and I have over 10 years of recruiting experience, including 5 years at Google. In this video, we're going to cover a commonly asked question: how do you like to be managed? This question seems pretty straightforward, but it can be a little bit tricky. Most of the articles that I read and the videos I watched do a good job of covering this topic. There are three differentiators that I want to bring up today. Specifically, one, know your audience. Your likely audience that is asking this question is specifically the hiring manager. Secondly, why can't you ask your HR professional or recruiter to tell you more about the hiring manager and their style? You absolutely can. And then lastly, I would end the answer to this question with a question. So let's dive in. First of all, I want to quickly just go through the basics, items that other videos and articles are covering. Step one, reflection. You want to take the time to reflect back and think about what your good bosses did well, and then also what your bad bosses did and how you would like the opposite to be done. So you're creating a list, and then from that list, you are going to be looking for themes, and from those themes, I recommend identifying three recurring or three top themes that you think, okay, these are the three items I really look for in a manager, because you don't want to overwhelm the answer of this question with more than three topics, ideally. Step two, research. Now that you have a higher level of the traits and themes of things that you're looking for, now you want to see if they mesh with the company and the position, right? And potentially the person as well. So first, you're going to start with the company mission. You're going to start with the company in the news, and you're just going to look for themes. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, Amazon is customer focused, so you might build the customer focus item into how you like to be managed. Secondly, you want to be thinking about the position and just broad sweeping ideas and concepts, even generalizations about a position. So a program manager, for instance, has to be comfortable leading without authority. So one of the ways they might like to be managed is to spend more time dealing and working on conflict resolution. Just one example. And then lastly, you want to look at LinkedIn. Obviously, if you know the name of the hiring manager, that's great. If you look at other employees, again, you can just look for themes. You can try and contact those employees and find out more, but what's most likely is you're going to do some general research, and you're just going to see these little themes popping up here and there, and that will be really helpful. Okay, step three, ask HR. The HR professional or recruiter might be able to give you more insight into the management style, even the personality type of the hiring manager. So make sure you're asking them specific questions about what is their management style, what is their communication style, and push a little bit in a friendly way. Hey Jane, I'm really asking these questions because I'm so excited about the role and I want to do well, but I'm just trying to get an understanding of how I can have a really impactful interview with the hiring manager. I want you to pause on this item because, yes, I think that maybe 60–70% of the time they're going to provide you no insight. But if you just ask this very simple question, probably 30%, maybe a little bit more, you are going to get some feedback. It might be, hey, they're succinct or they're gregarious or whatever they are. And that's going to lead you to know, hey, I need to be a little bit more brief, or I want to be maybe a little bit more long-winded in my answer, depending on personality type, communication style. Step four, craft your answer. So what I really want to do is I want to go ahead and give you a sample answer here that I think would work well. Again, some of the articles that I read had really great sample answers, so you should go back and check those out too. But if I were going to answer this question, it would be, great question, Sue. When I think about how I like to be managed, it's three items. It's expectations, goals, and communications. And I know expectations is broad, but I like to find out from the hiring manager what's worked well for them in the past and what have been some challenging areas, so I get a good feel of how they set expectations. Secondly, goals. It's always important that expectations and goals are in alignment as we work towards achieving those goals, and that if we're always working with defined goals and constantly tweaking and changing them, we are working towards a shared vision and going to have a great partnership. And then lastly is communication. I just ask for open and honest feedback, And I always want to be knowing where I can improve because that's how I get better. So that's the first part of your answer. Now, step 5 is end your answer with the question. Look, if you like this company, you like the role, and you're having a good dynamic conversation with potential colleagues and now sitting in front of the hiring manager, you also have to determine whether this is the right place for you. So remember, the number one reason why people leave companies is their boss. They don't agree with them, they don't like them, etc. So this relationship is so critical. So I would end that question with, Sue, as you think about your management style, do you agree that these concepts are important to you as well? Is there anything I didn't mention that you think is important for me to mention? There is a very strong likelihood that Sue is going to chime in and give you some sort of feedback. As Sue provides that feedback, listen, make it interactive, and mention, hey, Sue, in a working relationship, as long as we can get back to the goals, have clear expectations, and have great communication, I'm willing to expand what I look for in management in any aspect. I think that those are the 3 most critical items, and I'm really glad you brought up this point because I think it's important too. And maybe you provide an example of when that's been successful for you in the past. And that's a great segue into step number 6, which is an example answer. It's a personal story where instead of you go high level, more generic with what you're looking for, you talk about a time where you had a really good boss and what you liked about them. The only reason why I didn't give an example for this type of answer is it leaves you a little bit open for a tougher question, which is, hey, it's great that you liked working with Joe, but I want you to tell me about a time you worked with a bad boss and why it was bad. There is a potential huge chance for that hiring manager to ask you a tricky follow-up question if you are bringing up a specific example. So if you speak more in generalities, you probably protect yourself from that kind of tricky follow-up question. It's hard to tell, right? Telling a good story can always be impactful and make you memorable. So you'll just have to decide what works best for you. Again, the information out there is pretty good. I just want you to tweak it a little bit by really identifying that it is the hiring manager, asking the question of your HR or recruiter, and really ending with a question. Those are 3 strategies that I think will really differentiate you from the crowd and help you have greater success. Thanks so much. Have a great day.